Hi friends, and welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge. Today we're taking a look at this system. This is the budget clamp sharpening system by Hapstone. This is the T1. What it is, it's a very simple clamp to clamp your knife on here, and then it's got alignment tools to go down on a surface and sharpen your knife on whetstones. This is the more traditional old school whetstones. Like if you see a video online and you look up how to sharpen a knife on a whetstone, you're going to get a video where they've got a stone that's roughly this size, but it's going to sit flat in a holder, wet, and the guy's going to be sliding the knife across. If you want to sharpen using a stone like that, this is a tool to help you get the alignment just how you want it. It's a very good tool for people who are kind of new to using whetstones. You can use this to help you get your muscle memory to get the alignment just right. So you can use this as a training tool, or perhaps you've got some kind of reason that you need some help. I've got arthritis in my hands and it's just hard to, it gets painful and it's hard to keep that angle just right because, it starts hurting and then your muscles want to cramp up when it hurts. And this is going to help keep you doing the same angle that you want to do the whole time for whatever the reason is. So I'm going to describe this and let you in on how to use it. Keep watching the video. The review's coming to you right now. First off, what kind of knife can you sharpen with this? Well, you can sharpen your kitchen knives with this. That blue is just masking tape because this is an expensive knife and I don't want to scratch it up when I clamp this on here. So using masking tape on your knife is fine. So kitchen knives work. Small fixed blades, big fixed blades, that works fine. Your folding knives, those work fine too. Now this is a full flat grind. This works with a full flat grind just fine. I did see one video out there and the guy was saying, no way, you can't do flat grinds. What he meant by that, full flat grinds, because there are saber grinds that are flat grinds as well. So he meant full flat grinds where the grind goes right up to the spine, because the sample that he was using, I'm figuring it might have been a sample instead of a full device, or because I've had mine for over half a year and that was right shortly after it was announced that I got mine. Actually, it's been out almost like 9 or 10 months now. And it's got a bolt to adjust the angle that it clamps on. So let's talk about that first. Yes, full flat grinds like this knife or this knife work with this kind of holder because you put the blade in, and let's loosen this all up first. You put this is a full flat grind. Actually, let's do this one. That's very clearly a full flat grind. Anybody who knows a rat one on this channel knows that that's a full flat grind. And you clamp it on about in the middle of the blade, so like that, and you hold it on. Now this can get tricky. You want about 1/4 of an inch in the clamp, is my particular opinion. Now you can use it a little more safely if you use another clamp or vise to hold the knife. Let me show you what I mean. Now this is just for this very first step of getting the clamp onto the knife. So I'm going to bring this closer to the camera so I make sure it's on the screen. You just take your knife and you put it inside the clamp here and you tighten it up. Now that's safe. The cutting edge is underneath and it's safe. And now it's just easier to get this on here and aligned in a safe way. Get it on there and get these screws tightened a little bit, just so that it's holding. Now generally I would say, put masking tape on that edge too, especially if you want to protect it on the blade. And now comes the part, this is a full flat grind, and if you look at this right now, these two pieces here are closer together than it is at the tip. And what you want it to be is further apart here so that the clamps tight on this edge and it widens out at the same angle that the blade has, the bevel on the grinds. You want those lines to be the same all the way up. So these are very lightly tightened right here. And so now I can tighten this here. If I get it in, it's because the angle that I'm at. This turning moves these apart and moves this closer together because of where it is. So let's do that. So this is an exaggeration of what it is. So as I tighten this, it spreads this side apart and brings that together. So the angles in here, you want those angles to match the main bevel of the blade. And that's what I'm doing right now, although pretty much off camera. And you just do that until it's all the way tightened nicely. So this bevel is matched. So now the clamp is tight right at the edge and all the way along the main bevel, holding it on. There you go. And that's how it works. You use these rods to adjust the angle that the knife is going to be at. And the way you adjust these rods is you tighten and loosen the nuts. Now these are just caps on the end. They're rounded because they're designed to slide on a surface. So what I do is I very lightly tighten these onto here just a little bit. It doesn't take much pressure at all. Too much pressure and you're going to have problems. And then you use these here, these nuts, they're 10 millimeters. And I'll put the imperial equivalent for my American friends, although most of you guys have metric tools available to you. This piece here and this piece here, they both are threaded on the inside, so you can use just one nut in this part because this is effectively a nut. And if you've learned how on a rod, nut on nut tightening holds them in place, so effectively this is nut on nut tightening with a washer in between. So tighten that up just a little bit. Don't tighten it tight. This is not a vehicle that needs, a lot of tightening so that you're going to make it last while you're driving across the highway. This is just to be held in place. And now it's all tight and held in place. So if you're clamping this onto a knife like this one, where the sides here are parallel, then you're going to want to make sure when you tighten it up that these rods are also parallel. Because if these rods are parallel, that means these plates of the clamp are also parallel this way. It's just a very good thing, a trick of the eye that you can use to see if these are parallel or not. You can also look at the space in between the clamps here, the space here between the orange and the black, and the space here between the orange and the black. That should be the same if you're using a flat knife where the spine of where you're clamping on the spine of the blade is flat. So there you go, that's all nice and tight. That's how you put them on. So use that system no matter what you're doing. The greater the angle is, the more you put these down, so the rods will stick out further. The more shallow the angle is, the lower they are. Now you have two sets of threaded rods that come with it. You've got this shorter set, so that's if you've got a really low angle that you're going to work with, and this longer set if you've got a longer angle. And they're not that hard to put on and off. You just do it like I showed you. Now, how do you measure the angle? I'll show you that next. Now, I'm going to describe two main ways to measure the angle that you have and make sure it's the angle that you want. Here's my stone, and it doesn't matter that it's held just on a tabletop. If it's held in a holder and everything, you use the exact same method. This is flat with this surface. So I measure the angle flat with that surface. So I put my digital angle finder down and I zero it out. I put my knife on the stone and then I put my angle finder across my clamp and hold it flat. This is aluminum, so the magnet's not going to stick. The other option is if you've got a big blade, you can put it right on the blade and have it held that way. And so now, make sure that this is on the tabletop, that bolt, and I can measure the angle. That is right now at 19.7 degrees. So if I want a bigger angle, I move this rod down, so I make this section longer. The thing is, you want to match both sides. Now there's two ways that you can match both sides, and I still have to show you the other way of getting it. The two ways to match both sides is, once you've got it just right at the angle you want, a ruler's best, but a measuring tape can work too. You measure how far down it is, and then you change this one to match. So they're both the same. the knife that you have already has an angle that you want to match for whatever reason, you take a permanent marker and you put it across the bevel, the final grind bevel, and then you get it to the angle that you think matches as closely as you possibly can make it match. And then you slide it across the stone, and then you take a look at where the black ink has been wiped off. And if it's on the heel of the blade, that means you have to raise it up. And if what's rubbed off is right at the very cutting edge, and not along the whole edge, then you've got to let it down. And so then you can get it to match the angle that you want. And again, you only have to do one side, because the other side you're going to match using some kind of tape. That's how easy this is to use. That's how simple it is to use. Easy? Well, it's going to take practice and practice and practice. It's very straightforward though. So to sharpen the knife, actually, I'll show you a different part of a video where I'm actually on the works table, and I'll show you how to sharpen it. In this configuration, I first put down my sharpening stone, which is very much like almost any kind of sharpening stone. I just took a little bit of duct tape and put a roll on either side and glued it down to the table, this glass sheet, while it was dry, or any kind of smooth surface that tape is sticky to will be just fine. I clamped the knife on it. I put the low angle on here, and the same thing as I did the angle, just like I showed on the other part of the video. I can sharpen this knife, just dragging it along there. Now, as long as I keep this down, it is okay to go to the tip and roll up a little bit. You don't want to roll up too high, because then you're only going on one spot, as long as it's flat. And yes, it's noisy, but you'll get used to it. You can do it one-handed or two-handed. I find two-handed's best. I like to put my fingers up here, not right on the edge, up here. Whoop, I got to get on the screen. I put my fingers up here, not right on the edge, because that's the way to get your fingers cut. So up here, and the other hand on the handle, and you just sharpen. Just get used to it as best you can. Now, if it's a small knife this way, from the spine to the cutting edge, you do want to get back further than I do have here, because you can get hung up right on the edge of the clamp right there. So you do want it further back. And so I'm going to make that adjustment now, but then I got to recheck the angle, but I'll be right back. So I've adjusted the angle again, and I'm going to try to do this in a way so you can see. So this is kind of awkward. You will find your own way that's most comfortable to do this. Yeah, you can't see much that way. But you just slide the stone along. The knife along the stone. Now, this isn't the best method. This is a method. Of course, the tape, wants to go up and down a little bit, but, that's how you can sharpen using this system. Now, another way to do it is to use this kind of solution, and that, can hold it, but this will slide a little bit because it's so light. So this works better with heavier stones. So let me show you that. So this kind of stone you can put on here, and that's not going to slide around. In this video, I'm not going to be talking about how to make your edge really sharp and everything. It's just basically how to use this, not how many grits you go through and everything, not if you need to make your stones wet or not. You can learn all that stuff elsewhere, and yes, you do need to soak your stones. But here we go. So I put this down, I put my hands, this is very awkward. Don't follow this method of exactly holding it, at least not this very moment, because I'm trying to get lined up with the camera and everything. It's kind of awkward with where I am. If I try to do it the right way, then I end up being in front of you and you can't see what's going on. So hold the knife down, hold the handle. Just make sure that this stays down the whole time and the knife edge stays flat on the stone. Now, how you sharpen it, the method that you use to move the edge on the stone, I don't care if you just do this or if you do this. Or if you just do this, like what I mean is just sliding it across. You know, if you come across the edge or with the edge, and how much of a burr you do, all that stuff, you got to learn that on your own. There's all kinds of videos about that. I'm not teaching that right now. You can watch a video on how to sharpen to learn about burrs and how to slide your stone. My nutshell answer is you do it whatever way works for you. If you're getting a good sharp edge out of it, you're doing it right. If you're not getting a good sharp edge, try something else. And there's all kinds of advice out there on the internet. All kinds of different things that you can try. So basically, there you go. If you're doing it around 20 degrees, you're going to need about 2 centimeters, about 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the clamp to the edge of the blade. All right. Length of the knife, you need a knife that's, at least 2.5 inches long. The longer the knife, the better this works, up to a point. Folding knives, any folding knife that's, between 2.5 to 5 inches, that works fine. An 8, 9, 10-inch kitchen knife, that works fine for this kind of system as well. It's a good budget choice, in my opinion. And it looks good, it's easy to use. There you go. I've taught you how to set this up, how to get the angle right. You do want, one other thing I didn't talk about, and I should have, if you've got a long straight cutting edge, you want the clamp edge, so right here, this orange line right here, to be at the same angle as that one. You want it as close to parallel with the main part of the blade. It can't be parallel to everything, of course, but the main part of the cutting edge, you want this parallel to it. If you missed something, watch the video again, ask some questions, put your comments down below the video. Let me know what you think of the video. I don't answer all the comments for a variety of reasons, but if you definitely want me to answer you directly, then email me at canadiancuttingedge@gmail.com and I will respond to you. Thanks for watching my little video. This is the Hapstone T1. Remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye for now.